My list has 10 things that separate world-class professional wrestlers from the rest of the pack. And I'm breaking them all down for you next. I'm Mike Quackenbush. This is Till We Make It. And throughout my career, I've been very fortunate because I've worked in front of the cameras as a professional wrestler, referee, ring announcer, and commentator too. But I've also worked behind the scenes as a promoter, booker, agent, coach, and consultant. And I bring the sum of all these experiences, and from doing a couple other jobs in wrestling as well, right here to the channel each and every week. Would you leave a like on today's video? It really does help. And if you're not yet a member of the Till We Make It tribe, go ahead. Subscribe down below and enable those notifications so you never miss a vid. Talking about my process is typically the exclusive domain of my Patreon page, but I wanted to share this with you about today's video. This video feels like a can that I have continuously kicked down the road because typically what I do is write a Till We Make It video and then I walk away from it for a couple days. And then when I come back to it, I want to see if I still feel the same about what I wrote. And every time I thought I had this list finished for the video about a world-class wrestler, I realized there's one more thing. There is one more thing that distinguishes a world-class wrestler from everybody else. And I wanted to wait long enough that no new ideas were percolating to the top. And the result are the 10 things on the list we're going over right now. The first thing on my list is number 1, not because it's the most important, but simply because it is the very first thing that sprung to my mind when I knew I was going to make this video for you. The first thing that distinguishes a world-class professional wrestler from the rest of the pack is that they have a complete understanding of the differences between American pro wrestling, Mexican lucha libre, and Japanese pro wrestling. And they don't just appreciate what makes them different, they also understand the points of intersection, and they've got a working knowledge of all three. Someone who doesn't know how luchadors lock up has effectively excluded themselves from being a world-class wrestler, in my opinion. All of this is my opinion, in case that wasn't clear. That's really true about the whole Till We Make It channel experiment. It's my opinion. But you've got to know those things, and you've also got to know the points of intersection. Would you know an arm suplex if you saw that in an American pro wrestling match? Having that complete understanding, I think, elevates someone to world class. The second thing on my list is that you have the ability to work light as a feather or stiff as a brick based on the demands of the day. And the demands of the day could include what the needs of the opponent might be, what the needs of the match might be, what the needs of the entire event might be. And that means that you are seasoned enough to understand the difference between the demands of, just to choose 2 disparate examples here, a house show event in Barnesville, Pennsylvania, and the demands of the main event of Wrestle Kingdom on January 4th. These are not the same experiences, these are not the same events, they have different demands, and you are skillful enough to know which is which and to switch accordingly. The third thing that distinguishes a world-class wrestler from everybody else out there, at least to me, is the ability to troubleshoot a pro wrestling ring just by walking the boards and hitting the ropes once. By doing nothing more than that, you're going to be able to tell exactly what kind of bump this ring has in store for you later on that night. If something's not right with the ropes or the floor or the turnbuckles, you'll know it from walking the boards once and just hitting the ropes. When you're able to do that, I think you're a world-class working pro. Number 4 on my list is this. You'll know you're world-class when you are comfortable performing in front of any audience, anywhere on earth. That means you could go to the other side of the planet and wrestle in front of a crowd of people that don't even speak your language, and you're going to be A-OK. You could be performing at a birthday party in front of a bunch of rowdy kids, or you're in front of a bunch of tough guys in Dublin, Ireland, who've been getting their drink on all night long. It doesn't matter what the crowd is or where the crowd is located, you are perfectly comfortable wrestling in front of them all. And I do think this includes performing in front of a panel of judges or executives as you're auditioning for your dream gig. It doesn't matter what the circumstances are. You deliver the same in the ring because you are cool and calm and collected. You're comfortable. I think this fifth one is a little more nuanced than the rest, so listen carefully. I think you are a world-class working pro when you are the wrestler who has a spot for every occasion. Do you know what I mean by that? I don't mean that you've got several spots to come out of an abdominal stretch, or you've got plenty of spots in the corner that include an up and over. That's not what I mean by a spot for every occasion. What I do mean is, if the person you were performing with suddenly forgot everything that was supposed to happen in the match, you've got a spot so you can quickly and covertly communicate to them what they need to know and then continue on seamlessly. If the referee comes to you and says, we need you to buy us some time because we just found out camera number 3 went down, you've got a spot for exactly that occasion so that to the paying customers, everything is perfectly fine. It is seamless. No matter what could potentially go wrong or even go right, you have a spot for every occasion because you're a world-class working pro. Number 6, a world-class wrestler is able to have a conversation about any pro wrestling from any country or any era. And I use the phrase have a conversation about because I don't think you need to have seen everything. You couldn't have seen everything. That's not possible. There's no way you could watch all the pro wrestling that's been made in the last 150 years. You could barely watch all the wrestling that was made last week. What a commitment of time that would be. Nobody has seen it all. And I'm not big on those kind of like gatekeeping type things, such as, oh, you haven't seen Savage and Steamboat from WrestleMania 3? You're not a real wrestler. Like, I don't put stock in those kinds of things. What I mean by this is that you are a student of the game. You are well informed enough to be part of a conversation about anything pro wrestling related. It doesn't mean you've seen it all. It means you are well educated enough about the craft and its history to be, as I like to say, dangerous in any conversation. Okay, up 7th, a world-class wrestler can deliver high-quality matches no matter who they are in the ring with. So that includes a rookie, someone who is working with an injury, a star hot off their last TV run, a retiring legend doing one last victory lap before they limp off into the sunset. No matter what, they consistently deliver high-quality matches regardless of the opponent because they are versatile. And if you are a world-class working pro, you can deliver quality matches no matter who it is standing across the ring from you. This next one is the one I thought longest and hardest about, but I stand by it. A world-class working pro can figure out exactly what the show needs from their match by watching the 2 segments on the card prior to theirs. Even if one of those segments is just a non-wrestling segment, like a promo or some other vignette. By watching those 2 segments, they can then course correct and curate the content of their match to meet the needs and wants of the audience while also serving the card. And this speaks to developing analytical goggles. We can all watch wrestling with our fan goggles on and enjoy it as it is meant to be enjoyed. But you have to develop analytical goggles, the ability to see past the moves and spots and see the structure and the performance underneath. And a world-class working pro, in my opinion, has honed that skill of being able to analyze what's going on just 2 segments before them and then make sure what they deliver in the ring is exactly what the show needs. To truly become world-class, you must have mastered match structure well enough that you could teach it to a 10-year-old. You have a robust understanding of 3-act structure, enough that you know what the function of each part of that structure is and when some parts can be moved or outright eliminated. And yes, you could be a very good professional wrestler without truly mastering that structural element. But if you want to ascend to world class, in my mind, you must master that. You never freeze, you never panic, you have the presence of mind to make fixes and edits on the fly, then you possess a trait of a world-class professional wrestler. And just to share a little bit of my own veteran philosophy with you on that very topic, I think 99% of the things that might fall into that wrong category, they aren't really wrong. They are gifts you've been given. They might feel like slight detours from the carefully selected path you have for yourself, and you could refuse to take that detour when it shows up in front of you. But most of those so-called mistakes, they really aren't anything wrong. They are gifts waiting to be opened and explored to see where it's going to lead you next. And I think bringing some of that attitude to the way we perform only further distinguishes you from everybody else out there. Fellow pros, do you know someone that fits this bill? Put them over in the comments section right now. Go on, drop their name down there. Tell me about the world-class professional wrestler you know. And if you want to take a huge leap toward becoming a world-class wrestler, you have to master match structure. It was number 9 on my list. That is the main topic of my book, 7 Keys to Becoming a Better Performer, a book I wrote for fellow pro wrestlers. And you can get it in print or digitally through Amazon.com or over at Audible.com. I will read you the audiobook myself. So if you're not sick of my voice yet, head right to Audible now and grab 7 Keys. Thanks very much.